Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help simplify the lives of our families that are planning for college. I'm Kristin Clark. I'm a career exploration coach for 16 to 26-year-olds, and I'm here with Bobby Hood, our SAT ACT guru. Bobby, what's new today?
Well, we're finishing our four-session series on talking about the new enhanced ACT.
Awesome.
And
Let's
so
do it.
we've talked about the ACT a lot before, but now it's the new enhanced ACT. Last month was the first official one. And so now every student who takes the ACT is going to be taking the new enhanced ACT. And so we talked about the differences in English, which was pretty dramatic. English is a lot easier. Math is shorter. There's more time on all the sections. Reading, only slight changes. We talked about that last week, that all they did is really remove 4 questions, but make it 5 minutes longer. And then here's the science, right? So science is is very interesting. The big change is science is now optional.
Okay. And it wasn't before?
It wasn't before, right? Before, when you took the test, there were 4 sections: English, math, reading, science, and your score was the average of those 4 scores. And then also there was an essay, the writing test, which was optional. The writing test is still optional, and now science is optional. So when you sign up, they're going to ask if you want to take the optional science section.
Okay. Why would you want to or not want to?
So some colleges require it. Like MIT requires it. Pretty much like if you're going to get an engineering degree, colleges, we're going to want you to take the science section.
That makes sense.
And a lot of other schools just don't say anything. So we don't know, right? So they might care, right? We just don't know because this is a brand new thing, right?
Right.
But
Well, and the beauty of this, Bobby, is the way you explain how to do this is I think it makes science a lot less scary.
right. So
So
what teachers are advising is go ahead and take science, but it should not be your high priority, right? It's because now your composite score will be the average of your English, reading, and math sections. And then now science is going to be part of a new score called the STEM score, where they average math and science together. But no one knows whether anyone will care about that other than like MIT and other,
okay, so what you're saying is just take it and you can get rid of it if you didn't do well?
Well, yeah, you don't have to report it, right? I mean, like, or schools probably aren't going to care about it because they're probably just going to look at your composite score. So yeah, I mean, don't really worry about it, right? But take it in case they care, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the thing is, science is basically reading plus charts and graphs, right? It's just the reading test again. So as you get better at reading, you should get better at science too. You just have to practice it, right? And so the strategy is just don't read in detail up front. We said the same thing on reading. On reading, we said spend maybe 1 minute reading up front, right? Because in reading, it is a word search puzzle that you have to go look things up, right?
Right?
On the science test, it's just let the questions lead you to the answers. That's it, right? And remember that you don't need to know any science. It's just there will be just maybe a few questions where you need some basic junior high knowledge, and that's it, right? That's all there is. Okay, so let me get back to my window here if I can find it. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so basically what you do on most of science is it's just a bunch of word search puzzle questions. So you don't need to read and think about the question. You just need to look at it and like let the question lead you to the answer on each question. So you can see this question on the screen, right? It's got a bunch of words in it, but the question is, where should we go looking for the answer to this question? Right?
Middle, which the expression density has small value. Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
then there in that sense, it says based on table 1, right? So you say, oh, okay, well, I guess I need to look in table 1 because most science things have like a table or a figure in it, right? So I'm going to go to table 1. And now without thinking about that question, it's just that table has 4 words on the top of it, right? Which of those words appear in the question? Well, it's the words density and resistivity, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what is it asking us to do? Well, oh, it also has the word metal, right? So the answers are leading us to look at these answers, right? At these rows.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess they're telling us to look at these numbers, right? And what does the question want us to do with
The
these
ones
numbers?
with the smallest. So the density times the
It wants us to multiply them and figure out which one is the smallest. Now, you're not allowed to use your calculator. So you just have to kind of do it in your head. But like, obviously, this top one is going to be like, I don't know, 5 or something, right? And then this one would be maybe 12 or something. And this would be like 40. And this would be like 15 or something, right? So the answer is the small one, right?
Yeah.
That's it, right? But so you see how if you think about that, all this stuff about using metal for electrical cables and all that stuff, like none of that has to do with anything. It's just, it tells you to multiply those numbers and pick the small. That's it. So this is the way. Don't think about things. Don't try to understand things. Just do what it says, right? That's the basic, is this 2x2 answer format thing. So you see how the answers here say yes, yes, no, no in them?
Yeah.
So when you see that, those questions can kind of like hurt your brain a little bit because you're trying to figure out, like, is it yes or no, but also the reasons. Like you see how like choice A kind of says the same thing as choice C.
Yes.
Right. And so it can get a little confusing to work backward to like figure out both of those things at once. So the trick is, don't read the question. Don't think about the question. Just look at the answers and look at choice A and say, is that is that true what choice A says?
And the claim be evaluated. No, like the first one doesn't even
So it
answer
says
that.
incubation time was different for each group. The question is just, is that a true statement or not a true statement?
Yep.
And now this question doesn't say table 1 or figure 1. So that means we just have to read the words of the passage. And so I go searching for something that word matches to incubation time, right? And so here's a paragraph from the passage that we go find. Okay, length of time that they were incubated, right? Well, it says each beaker was incubated like that.
So they were all, So because incubation time was the same, so it'd be D.
Yeah. So, well, it says the same for all the groups. So it's either B or D, right?
Right.
And so now we know that these are false, right? So now we know it's true that it's the same. Now we look at the question and yeah, you're absolutely right. If you didn't change it, right, then we can't evaluate it. So the answer is no, right?
Okay.
You use the answer that is the correct answer to work backwards into what the answer is, right?
Right. Well, and it goes back to, Bobby, that these are just they're logic puzzles.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's not, you don't need to understand science, right? And so,
which makes me happy, my non-science head happy.
Oh, this is so absolutely. See, students get so intimidated by this test because they think, oh, I'm supposed to like know science stuff, right? Let's look at one more of those just because these are kind of funny. Okay, you see that greater, greater, less, less in the answers again, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of these. It's like 15 questions on the test that are like this. So you see that. So instead of like reading all that and understanding, we're just going to go straight to choice A. You can see in the question it says experiment 1. So I go to experiment 1. Here's the table for it.
Okay.
So is that in choice F, the stock solution accounted for a larger volume of 2 than 5? So again, word matching to the table. Stock solution, volume, solution 2 and 5, right? Okay. Looks like the stock solution accounted for a smaller volume.
So that's cross that one out.
So then that means on this one, it's G and H that are the correct ones. And sometimes they're different, right? But here, okay, those two are false, right? So now we know the answer is either G or H.
Yes.
Now we go to the question. So the question, now that we know, okay, there was less liquid in solution 2, right? Now we read the question. The question is, was the volume of water added to solution 2 greater or less than, or the volume that was added in step 4, right?
Yeah.
So we go look at step 4.
The contents of the flask were diluted with H2O to form a solution. Okay.
Oh, so we filled them up to 100. And if the reason for the answer is solution 2 started with less liquid in it,
Yep.
oh, then I guess we had to add more water, right? In step 4. And so you see how if you didn't do it in these 2 different steps, how that could get pretty confusing.
Very confusing.
Right?
Because I was still having to kind of take a minute to really take this in.
Oh, absolutely. But, yeah.
It goes back to you really have to just slow down and think about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's very helpful to be like, okay, I know that the reason is there was like less liquid in solution 2. Now you read the question, right? And so you're able to fix in your mind the thing that you know and then look at the question.
Well, and I think the key to this though, Bobby, is I think what you do here is where you're highlighting and circling. Like even while you're taking this test, you're really looking for what is the true question, that volume of H2O, you know, so, and then look, doing the highlights, I think is huge because it keeps you focused.
Oh, absolutely. Right. That's why it's illustrating that the whole thing is just all word matching. Right.
Yeah.
And let me show you one more. This is just really funny. Okay. So let me see if I can get right. Okay. I'm going to show you the scariest science question that I've ever seen. Okay. So here's a completely crazy looking, meaningless science table.
Yeah.
That says something about coding regions and GFP reporter genes and things like that. There's no way anyone's going to try to understand what any of that means, right? And during the time on the test, right? Okay, now don't try to understand any of that. Just, I'm going to put a question up, and you see that there are 5 rows in that table, in that figure, right? The question is just word matching to these rows. Which row should we look at to answer this question?
Based on the results of their RS2, okay.
Yeah. Okay, what row should I look at?
3.
I should look at the row that says RS2. Now, why wouldn't I look at the row that has RS1 and RS2?
Because it says based on the results of experiment 2.
Right, and they only want to know, well, yeah, so this is the figure for experiment 2, but it doesn't say RS1, so you don't look at the RS1, right? That would just be bad science. If you want to know what RS2 does, you look at the row that only had RS2 in it. Okay, so what's the answer to this question going to be then?
DEF.
It's DEF, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, I don't understand anything about what's going on here, but I don't need to, because that's the thing. And so no matter how scary the science thing is, you just let it lead you to things in word match and the answer will be there. And in fact, the scarier it looks, the easier the questions actually are going to be.
Yeah.
Because all they can do, they can't expect you in 1 minute per question. They cannot expect you to understand any of this stuff. So it's all word matching. And once you realize that, then it stops being so intimidating and scary.
Absolutely. But you still, I mean, but you do, in my mind, it's still just slowing down.
Absolutely.
Right. And like that question, that should have been a really quick one to go, oh, you know.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But again, to your point, you have to realize that these are not, they're not testing your science as much as they're testing the process that you're.
It's absolutely just, are you reading carefully? Are you moving slow? Yeah. And it's, yeah, that's it. So don't be intimidated by science, but also now don't even worry about it anyway, because your score is now the average of English, reading, and math anyway. So science is not the most important at all. That's
yes.
it. All right. Great to see you. Have a great week.
All right. See you, Bobby.
Bye-bye.